Welcome back to Eurovision 365. I am Padraig, I'm your host as always, and you are very welcome to join me here on the channel. But also, I hope we can extend another huge warm welcome to another person joining me today, and that is none other than Head of Irish Delegation for Eurovision in RTE, Michael Kealy. Hey, hello there.
Hi, Porrick. How's it going?
I am very, very good. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for taking some time out of, I'm sure it is a very busy time for you.
There's a lot going on at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not just Eurovision, a few other things on my plate as well.
Yeah, of course, because
But
you're,
always happy to talk about Eurovision.
me too. I could talk about you, well, 365, 24/7, that's the whole channel. But Michael, it's a couple of weeks on now from Eurosong, almost 2 weeks. Now that the dust has settled a little bit, what's your thoughts on how it all went?
Well, I'm very happy with the result. I think that's a real win for Eurovision fans and for Ireland already, because the excitement that Bambie has generated throughout the fandom, first of all, is immense. I think, and which is something that we really haven't experienced at this stage of the competition before in the last few years, anyway,
Mhm.
and. I think Bambi they've also managed to kind of spread a bit wider than just the fandom. I mean, they've been top of the
Mm,
viral charts in Ireland
mhm.
for the last couple of weeks. I see just today they've entered the viral charts in Norway.
Yeah,
So they're all very positive signs for us so early on, and so I'm very hopeful. I think the Eurosong was seen as a success. I mean, I certainly would have thought it was one of the best ones that we've done to date, and I was just very happy with the caliber of acts that we had.
mhm.
The choice we were able to give to the viewing public and to the fans, I think, was good as well. There was a lot of different varieties of genre in there, and a lot of different types of acts and stuff. So,
Mhm.
all in all, I thought it was very good. I thought we did our best this year to make it look a bit different, to try and give it a more of a sense of occasion. I know people had given out in the past about the late
Oh,
late
the
set and the studio and all that kind of stuff. So we were fortunate this year in a way, because we there was a new Late Late Show set, and because that particular set didn't suit a Eurosong competition, we were able to take it out in its entirety and think of something else to do.
Mhm.
Whereas in the
Mhm.
past, the Late Late Show set had a performance area in the corner, and it wasn't great for your song acts, but we kind of had to make the most of it when it was there. But so this year it allowed us to kind of do something a bit different and to kind of up our game. And every year we're slowly and incrementally getting towards you know a better competition.
A better competition. Yeah. So it's interesting you say that, Michael, because obviously, as a fan, as an Irish fan, and it's great to be, part of that whole process in terms of like being at the Eurosong. And certainly, as you said, it seems to be a big step up from what has gone before, and it's hugely positive. I think like most fans that pretty much every fan I've been chatting to from an Irish perspective have been really pleased, and very positive about the way things are, and it's a huge step up from the last couple of years for sure. What would be the next steps then? Because this is brilliant. So what would be the next steps that you would
Well,
foresee?
I mean, like, it's always been my ambition, and it's no secret, is to kind of have a standalone Eurosong competition that would be held
Mm,
over a number of weeks. Um, if we find ourselves in the same position next year, having to use a studio like the Studio 4 here in RTE,
mhm.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good, step up this year.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
what I really think makes it, though, is that's all the kind of the frills around the actual competition, the studio and the set and all that kind of stuff certainly helps generate excitement, and it
yeah,
creates a sense of occasion.
yeah.
it's really down to the acts and to the caliber of acts, though, at the end of the day. And I think that's generally in the last few years, we have been attracting sort of bigger and bigger names. And that is the thing I think that is most exciting for me, is that we're taking it away from the notion that this is a competition for amateurs. This is somehow a circus show. That it's not a serious competition. I think people are beginning to realise, no. In fact, this is a serious showcase for people. And even if you don't get past the Eurosong final,
Yeah.
the benefit of the exposure of being on Eurosong, I think, is worth it alone. And if you're lucky enough to get through to the Eurovision itself, like the sky is the limit, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I think the real key thing, that I think really worked, this time around, Michael, was the fact that the audience was full of Eurovision fans. Like we all know, we all know the songs, and I think that helped, build, that level of excitement, level of engagement. And you're absolutely right. I think it's great that we hopefully can be in a position where we're inviting bigger and bigger and bigger names to take part.
I mean, having Eurovision fans in the audience is great. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, because sometimes they can be a bit too partisan for my liking.
Okay.
Particularly if they have a favorite, if there is a fan favorite, it can be a little unnerving, I suppose, for the other acts.
Yeah.
If
I get what you mean.
If the audience is packed with people who are really supporting one particular act. So I would rather they were a little more generous in their applause and their praise for all of the acts, not just the one that's their favourite.
Yeah.
But look, it's only a minor thing, But
no, I get what you mean, and I think that even happens at Eurovision as well, doesn't it? Whenever the bigger scale, the fans get behind certain performers and this chanting goes on. And I actually, one of the questions I was going to ask you, Michael, was, this channel, we absolutely love Next in Line. We love them. We think they're awesome. We love everything about them. We love the song, and I'm very much supportive of the band and will continue to be. Now, one of the things, that was noticed was, whenever the international jury came in and, the 12 points were awarded, which, we, Eurovision 365, we applauded, actually, so it was great. But would that give you any sort of cause or suggestion of reintroducing regional juries? I'm not saying that's what we need, but I'm just curious in your thoughts about that, because that used to be the way, before. I'm just curious about your thoughts about that.
There's any number of ways of doing this. Just in the last few years, we've stuck to the formula of national jury, international jury, and public vote. Yes, they can go to the old days and go back to maybe 5 or 6 regional juries around Ireland, and maybe in the future we'll do that. I do think we need to expand our jury. Realistically, I think 2 juries of 4 people is probably a little limited. I think we should expand it in the future. I've said recently, I think maybe we should have one of them should be a fan jury.
Yeah.
And maybe a few other regional juries. It's down to time and resources and all of that. I'm a one-man operation here, so I have other things on my plate. I have only so much hours in the day that I can possibly devote to Eurovision. So I would love to do it in the future, but who knows? Maybe we will. Maybe if we get a standalone show, we can introduce all those sort of features.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking, when you're talking about the standalone show, how feasible is that? Because obviously there's financial constraints, and obviously Late Late Show, it's easy to schedule because it's part of, it's slotting into a show that's already happening each week. So, how feasible is that?
Well, I've always been hopeful that we will get one in the end, but it's a bigger question, I think, for the organisation in terms of its finances and its funding. There are a lot of things competing for a limited pool of money in here, and it's very difficult to get something new off the ground, because you, generally speaking, have to knock something else out of the schedule. So
of course.
so it's it's something that I'm always hopeful about, and but it is like, the more money we have, the more we can do. Put it that way. It helps if people pay their license fee. I know that that's not a very popular position to adopt, but or whatever. It would be helpful if we were funded properly through whatever method our elders and betters decide.
Are you feeling positive? I think we're all collectively feeling positive about Eurovision 2024 for Ireland. Are you feeling positive, Michael?
I'm really excited for this year. I think I think Bambi is such a great act.
Yeah.
They are, they're somebody who is 100% committed to their art, and
100%.
I really admire that in an artist. I mean, they're not. It's not a persona. They're not putting it on. This is the life that they live, and this is the art that they do. And I think whether they're world famous and living in LA, or whether they're living in Macroom, uh, they're always gonna, I think, be doing what they do, and that to me is really exciting. That we have this kind of. I've always said, like, one of the things that appeals to me most, and it appeals to the audience a lot, I think, as well, is authenticity. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Bambi has that in absolute spades. I think we've got an authentic artist here who is going to go and do something special on the stage in Malmo, and I'm really excited about it. We're in the very early stages of doing all the necessary stuff that we need to do for Malmo. The next thing on the line is on the agenda rather is we're going to make a video. So Bambi's got all sorts of amazing ideas for that, and I'm just waiting to see what they produce.
I mean, obviously you have meetings with Bambi, in the run up to the contest, and you'll be discussing, staging at this point as well, to send across to SVT. Is there anything you can tell us about that? What's available or what's at your
Well,
disposal?
I mean, we have all the usual tricks at our disposal. I mean, we have pyro, and we have LEDs, graphics, and we have the ability to
Yes.
produce props and all that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
all of those things. Let me just say, at the moment, everything is in play. That's
Everything.
all. Everything is in play.
Everything.
Yeah, because it's early. It's very early days. I mean, we'll eventually settle on the best possible configuration for them and for the act and for the song. But I trust them implicitly,
Yeah.
and their creative team, to come up with something really, really special.
Julian, just even chatting about this, I'm feeling even more excited, Michael, because obviously just checked again before we had our chatting, and Ireland were seventh in the betting on still, which is absolutely. I can't remember
Well,
last time that was, maybe Jed good
I'm
years ago.
I'm amazed that we're still seventh, because we kind of rose to that position, and then we've kind of stayed there. So I thought we might rise there and kind of drop down a bit.
Yeah.
The way things go,
Yeah.
and of all the countries that have released their songs, most of them tend to have drifted down
Yeah.
once the song has come out. I think it's only the Ukraine and ourselves who have managed to kind of
Stay put.
stay up there. And
Yeah.
I know Ollie Alexander released a snippet of his song last night, and so I'm sure they're going to be right up there as well today. But yeah, it's very exciting for me to see that level of interest maintained over a prolonged period of time, or a relatively prolonged period of time. I think that just bodes really well for it. I think that means that this thing has connected with people just all over the place.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the viral charts as well, the Spotify charts. I think Finland and Lithuania, I heard today as well. I mean, like,
Bambi has appeared in those charts as well,
aye, aye.
have they? Well, there you go. So I think something
Something's
different,
working. Something's working.
something different is happening this year, but I do think that it is people don't notice it, but I think this the incremental changes every year
Yeah.
that contribute
Yeah.
to artists like Bambi wanting to get involved.
Um, Before we move on to like sort of looking forward, I mean, I don't know if you seen or not, Michael. There's a viral clip going around about a member of the clergy who's basically saying not great things about the selection show.
For Eurosong, a song that will leave Ireland, that will represent Ireland and the Irish people and what we are all about, my friends. And all I can say is, we're finished. We are finished.
What's your thoughts on that, if you want to share?
Listen, anybody is entitled to their
100%.
opinion about anything, and if a priest, if a priest denouncing an artist, a music artist, from the pulpit in a church on a Sunday is still a thing in Ireland, which I didn't think it was, but it has all the hallmarks of a Father Ted episode. But if that's still a thing, I don't know who he thinks he's trying to convince that we should drop Bambie, as our Eurovision artist. I don't know who his audience is, and frankly, anybody that I think pays any attention to that, they're not relevant anymore. Society has moved on, thankfully, in this country.
If the unthinkable happens, right, Ireland doesn't qualify, that's what next?
Well, look, I'm not even considering that as an option at the moment. Look, if that happens, that happens. It's a competition. There are things that are out of our control. That is entirely one of them. Whether we're going to, I fully expect we will qualify.
Yeah,
I would be shocked if we didn't.
What if we don't?
Well, what can we do? Launch an inquiry, withdraw from the Eurovision.
Has that ever been considered? Has it ever been in the conversation of withdrawing?
Not really. No,
Not really.
Why would we throw in the towel? It's like, if you withdraw from the competition, you have zero chance of winning it.
Yeah.
At least if you're in there, you have some chance of doing well and winning it. So I don't think that's a consideration. It might suit other people who want to see us withdraw, but I don't know what that would achieve. I don't think the fans want that, to be perfectly honest. I don't think RTE wants that. I don't think the music industry in Ireland would want us to do that, because it is an outlet, between the Eurosong and the Eurovision itself. It is a very, very valuable platform for emerging artists. So I would be astonished if anybody thought that it was a good idea for us to drop out just because the rest of Europe didn't like our acts that we sent. But having said that, I would be astonished and I would be shocked if that was the case this year.
Yeah, me too. So if the director calls you after our chat today, or tomorrow, and says, "We have to win this, Michael. You have unlimited resources. You can do whatever you want," what would you do?
Well, sometimes more money doesn't mean a better, or a better staging or a better production or whatever. So creativity exists on loads of different budgets, and it's only, at the end of the day, it's only 3 minutes on a stage. There's a limited amount of things you can do. So, sometimes less is more. You could, if you had loads of money, you could buy every single bit of pyro and stage effect that's available to you. But your act would be nothing but fireworks going off for 3 minutes, or fog, or wind machines, or whatever. So I don't necessarily think that unlimited resources is going to make a better performance. I think we definitely need some resources to do what we need to do. I don't think we quite have enough, but we'll make do with what we got. At the end of the day, it's all about the song and the artists, and about Bambie and how they perform and how they connect with the audience at home, and that is an X factor that exists sometimes outside of pyrotechnics.
So I think what I'm kind of hearing from you, Michael, is there's going to be a lot of focus on Bambie, which I think is a really good thing, in terms of.
Yeah, I think. Look, if I think a good starting point for anybody wondering what we're going to be doing on stage in May would be to look at the Eurosong and look what Bambie did on the stage
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
Studio 4 on a very
yeah,
small stage, you know. So,
yeah,
um, you know, it's just a matter of scaling them up to a big arena. But I've no doubt that they are well able to command attention on a big stage.
definitely, 100%. And I'm really excited to see, like how things go, and hopefully, I think Bambie's considering going to pre-parties. Hopefully they will, because that's a good way of getting, even more people, interested in the performance. Um, you've been head of delegation now since 2013. What big changes have you seen in your tenure? What's the biggest?
Well, do you know, I've my first turn as head of delegation was in 2008 with Dustin. So that's one that
Yeah.
really kind of introduced me to the whole thing.
You started
So
well.
yeah, it was certainly an interesting start to my Eurovision
Memorable.
memorable start to my Eurovision career.
Yeah.
What changes have I seen? Well, look, I think the competition is. First of all, I've been doing it like for 10 or 12 years now. So, I mean, you know, I have one eye to the future as well. I don't want to be doing this in 5 years. I think it's nearly time for somebody else to start thinking about,
Okay.
taking the reins and doing what they can with it. I love the competition. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think the biggest change I've seen, I suppose, in the last 4 or 5 years has been the recognition that the quality of music in Eurovision is world class, and that the acts, like the greatest thing is to see an act like Maneskin go on and conquer the world. I mean, Eurovision has always produced global artists, maybe not every year, but, ABBA, Celine Dion, Johnny Logan, I'm throwing him in there as well, and
There he is.
Maneskin.
Look, look, look.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Maneskin, and so it's really great to see that the artists doing well in Eurovision go
Yeah.
on then to do well in the global pop music business, and I think that's a great thing for us because it means that more artists of more serious artists are prepared to step up and have a go. And I thought we had six very, very credible artists this year in the Eurosong, very, very credible acts. And I was at the end of the day, and sorry for using that cliche too much, but there's only one winner, and five acts won't make it. But they're free to come back and have another go and to have a shot at that big stage, and then to get that global recognition. I think that Eurovision now affords people.
100%. And like you don't even have to win Eurovision now to become like global, like Rosa Lynn, of course, everybody like as a much recent example, she is huge, huge now.
I think Bambi is destined to be a global star no matter what result happens in Malmo. I mean, I fully expect them to do really, really well, and as I said, I'd be shocked if they didn't. But they're going to be a star that we're going to be proud of in Ireland for a long, long time to come.
100%, 100%. And I think we're already proud, aren't we? With how things are going, 100%. What parts of being a head of delegation would people be surprised to know?
Be surprised to know. Well, there's very little. There's very little secrets that I keep. I mean, I tend to be quite open about what I do and why we do it, and the constraints on me and my time, and given that I have other things to do here in RTE. I don't know I mean, maybe surprising for people to know that I actually book all the flights, I book all the accommodation, I do all of that myself. I organize, So like, I don't have a team. I'm a team of one, So that's it's a lot of administration in being head of delegation for me anyway. It may not be the same in fact, I know it's not the same in the UK for Lee Smithhurst or for Andrew, but and I'm sure it's not the same in SVT for their Eurovision team as well.
Yeah.
I'm a one man operation here. I wish I had more people just to help out on that administration side of things. It's probably the biggest source of stress for me in the whole of the Eurovision. It's it's not dealing with great artists. It's not dealing with the Eurovision machine. It's sometimes dealing with the internal bureaucracy in RTE is the biggest source of frustration for me.
Okay, yeah, because so the things you want to do, maybe you're up against a brick wall somewhat.
Well, I mean, it's a big organization here, so there are naturally enough processes and procedures that need to be observed, and sometimes they don't move fast enough for me when it comes to doing things like the Eurovision, because we need to move quite quickly a lot of the time in terms of who we hire, who we get to design and make props, all that kind of stuff. And it can be very slow in here sometimes to get the wheels to turn in the right direction.
Yeah, so I sense a wee bit of frustration, but also a wee bit of optimism in there as well. About wanting, ultimately to do.
The best thing that could happen to Ireland and to Irish Eurovision fans and to me and to RT is for us to win the competition, because I think that would force us to elevate this thing to the level of an SVT.
Yeah, let's win it. Let's win it. Yeah.
Tell all your friends to vote.
Of course. So just a couple of wee quick fire things, and then we'll finish off. That's okay. So, favorite memory from the Eurovision?
Oh gosh, I'd have to think about that. Well, I mean, my most recent favorite memory is, and I have loads of favorite. Like there hasn't been one Eurovision trip that I don't have tons of great memories from. The moment in Lisbon when they announced us that Ryan was through to the final was a great moment, because it happens so rarely for us. It's only happened twice for me, and
of course,
so many times. So that was a really, really special moment as well. And because getting to the final is what it's all about, and it's such a disappointment when we don't progress beyond the first or second semi-final. So I have to say that's probably my favorite moment of the last 5 years. I have a lot of great memories from Liverpool last year, and with Wild Youth and with Brooke.
Oh yes,
in Turin. And with Leslie in Rotterdam, and look, Sarah in Tel Aviv. I can go back through all of them, and there's not one of them I would look back with any sense of disappointment or anything less than great memories. I think they've all been fantastic, and I've been very, very lucky actually in that throughout my time as the head of delegation that we've had such great artists all along, and I hesitate to include Dustin in that, but
yeah,
very disappointed, I'm sure, if I didn't.
Yeah. So, best organised Eurovision in your experience?
Oh, well, they're all very, very well organised, I have to say.
Best one.
The best one, the one that astonished me the most, one as a television producer that really took my breath away, was 2014 in Cologne, and they told us that they were going to put the Eurovision on in here. And we all looked on in amazement that they were planning on doing it there. But when we arrived in May now it's, I still think they're paying for it. I still think it costs a fortune. I think some people were fired due to the fact that the budget overran by tens of millions. But it was an astonishing show. But they are all astonishing shows. Liverpool was great. There's not one that I haven't walked into and gone wow. Not gone wow. What an amazing setup. And the thing about Eurovision as well is that you not only meet the same people in heads of delegations, in other countries, whatever. A lot of the backstage people are the same as well. So the people we meet who might be the stage managers or the viewing room producers or the content, like a lot of them are the same. So it really is a family, and it has the feeling of a family, and that's the one thing I suppose that is so great about the competition to me, is just that the friendliness of it, the inclusivity, the that there's zero bad vibes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking of I think he's stage manager. His name escapes me. He's a blonde guy. He's very tall. Everybody's told me.
Yes, yeah,
He
yes.
comes on. He's like
Ben, is that
before.
right? I can't remember his
He's
name,
from
but
Denmark. He's
he's
from
from
Denmark.
Denmark. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He
He's
hasn't been
awesome.
there. He hasn't been there in recent years, but I believe he'd
All
be
right.
back for Malmo. Yeah.
I should be. Yeah, no, he's awesome. If you could choose anyone for Eurovision 2025, anyone to represent Ireland, who would it be?
Gosh, I don't know because I'm like the great thing about opening up the competition every year is that you get artists that I'd never heard. I'd never heard of Bambie Thug, if I'm being perfectly honest, before they put a song in for Eurosong. So I don't know. I mean, I'm open to it. Look, it could be anybody. It could be next in line with a great song next year. It could be. It depends on the song and the act. It could be
Yeah.
Erica Cody coming back with another great, dance floor filler. It could be any of them.
Brooke.
Any of them. Could be.
Yeah.
It could be Brooke.
Yes.
Absolutely. It could be JLOL. I think that somebody like him with the right song could really do well in Eurovision for us. So look, any of them. So I'm not. I don't think it's people. A lot of people say, oh, what about you two and Hosier and people like that. I
Yeah.
don't think they're in the right space for Eurovision. And as great as all those artists are, CMAT would be great, would be fantastic for us as well. I'm not sure she's in the right space in her own career to consider Eurovision, but she would be fantastic as well. What a great artist.
Yeah. So you're basically open to. Yeah.
And as I should be,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Uh-huh.
if I go in with a closed mind, then that's obviously not
Show's
going to.
over. Show's over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look, any new artists, any emerging artists, any existing artists that we haven't heard of, any existing artists that we have heard of, more than welcome to get in touch.
Get in touch with Michael Kealy. Now you sort of said just before Michael, last question. You'd be glad to know. You're thinking about moving on from this role. So, what will be your lasting memory of your tenure?
My lasting memory. My lasting memory should be standing on the open top bus with Bambie Thug as we make our way from Dublin Airport into the city centre. That is hopefully my last memory of my time in Eurovision. But honestly, I mean, they're all fantastic memories. I'd have to take some time to process my time, and maybe in a few years, with the benefit of a bit of distance from the whole thing, I might be able to narrow it down to one or two key moments. But at the moment, I have nothing but great memories about all of it.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not going anywhere for the moment, by the way. Just in case anybody thinks that I'm throwing it out. I'm not, but let me just think. I'm actively looking for somebody to become an apprentice to this thing.
So applications open-ish. So you book.
From within RTE. Yeah.
You book the flights. You book the accommodation. So you'll be booking the bus then for Bambie potentially out of Dublin Airport and that open top bus.
Well, if we win it, I might see if somebody else might do the organisation for that particular part of it.
Fair play. Fair play. All I want to say is, Michael, thank you so much for taking time out of your very, very busy schedule. I appreciate it. Lots of positivity. We're loving it. And best of luck with everything. And we'll see you on the road till Malmo.
Thanks, Padraig.
Thanks very much.